Welcome back to Poor Man Printing, guys. And today I had planned out this video all day. I'm gonna do a review on this because this is a very good video. And I had everything ready, almost time to get off work. And I had a notification from YouTube. It was Cavell Anderson. He just made a YouTube review of the same video I was gonna do. Gee, thanks, Cavell. No, I'm messing with you, man. Hey, I'm glad you made the video because that was great. So I'm just gonna put my little spin on it, you know. Just gonna give you my thoughts. But yeah, the video, the guy's name is John Carlo, and we're just gonna go through here and just listen to what he has to say. I already watched it one time, but you know, it's a very well-made video. It really is. It's almost like he's been doing YouTube for a while now. I mean, you got another channel. But yeah, at least he brought something to the table without complaining about what the founders are saying or not doing or everything else. Like some videos I know of, this guy here made an excellent video. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get on it and just hear what he has to say.
Hey guys, so let's talk about the curious case of Omi and the VV NFT platform. So here you have an app that has major licenses with brands like DC Comics, Cartoon Network, and Ghostbusters. They fully launched an augmented reality system where you can view your NFTs in a more unique way than any other NFT platform. And every time it releases a new drop, it completely sells out within the first few minutes, often making millions of dollars in revenue in a single day. And yet, at the same time, when we look at Omi, which is a cryptocurrency that is tied to this platform, it's been a completely different story. The past couple of months have been rough. After a big surge at the start of the year when it went all the way up to a penny per coin, it's now had about an 85% decline from its peak. Some people have pointed to this and basically said that was the bubble. It burst and it was an overhyped platform.
Now, I believe there is a NFT bubble, but like I've said before, I believe the ones that's holding the license are the ones that's going to succeed.
But others are saying that the lower price now makes Omi the most undervalued cryptocurrency in the NFT space. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the future of Omi going forward, and specifically, I want to discuss a couple of important topics that I haven't seen covered in similar videos on YouTube, and that I don't think enough people understand, but which to me seem absolutely critical to whether or not Omi is a good investment. And finally, I'm going to give my own investment strategy when it comes to both Omi and the VV platform. Now, if you're new here, my name is John Carlo, and this is the channel where I do investor guides on the biggest NFT projects right now. And I'm coming at this from the angle of someone who used to be a stock analyst on Wall Street and who spent years advising hedge funds on how to invest in the media and gaming sectors. Now I'm going all in on NFTs, so if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button because this is still, you know, a pretty small channel and every little bit helps to spread the videos.
So yeah, he's got a pretty good background going for him. So yeah, you got to give him credit for that. I'm just a crane operator.
All right, so first, for those that haven't heard of Omi and VV, let me just give you a super quick intro. The basics are these three terms. So first you have VV, which is an app that allows you to buy digital collectibles, aka NFTs, and which draws from some of the best licensing deals in the NFT space today. So they'll have drops through the app where you can buy characters like Batman and Superman, and because they work as NFTs, it means you get, you know, ownership of your digital collectible and you can hold it or sell it as you wish. So that's VV, and then you have Ecomi, which is a company that is primarily known for the creation of the VV platform. And then finally you have Omi, which is the cryptocurrency that runs everything on the VV platform, and for most people, this is the preferred way of investing in the growth of the VV app. But as you'll see in a few minutes, I actually disagree with this. Now, the reason Omi is important is because it's used for everything that happens on the platform. So when you download the app and you buy in-game currency, what you receive is something that's called gems. And $1 will always equal 1 gem. And
everything he's saying is correct. I mean, I haven't seen a well put together video like this yet from anybody. Everybody's got their own opinion, you know, and I got to hand it to him. This is a great video. It really is.
In the background, these gems are tied to an equivalent amount of Omi coins. And when you buy an item with your gems, say a Batman NFT for 100 gems, then at that point, the Omi coins associated with those 100 gems are burned. And here you have one of the biggest reasons people are even investing in Omi. Because basically how it works is that the VV app contains a reserve wallet that is meant to distribute all the Omi that you need when users buy things on the app. So basically it needs to always have enough to distribute gems to users. And so when you buy Batman with those 100 gems and you burn the OMI that's tied to that, the balance of OMI in the VV reserve wallet goes down. And so to replenish this reserve wallet, the Ecomi team buys OMI from the secondary market to then put into the reserve wallet. And this has the effect of reducing the overall circulating supply of OMI tokens, which then makes this a deflationary asset.
He explains this so perfect, guys. Like me trying to explain this stuff to my friends, I'm all over the place. I'm talking about, 30% Apple fees. I'm talking about 70%, 10% on this, 2.5% on the buybacks. It's crazy, but he explained it very well. And I might use this later on down the road to explain to other people, because this is a great way to explain it. I mean, it's a lot of stuff he left out, but to explain it to somebody who don't know nothing about it, this is the perfect way to do it.
Now, this is just a super high level overview, right? If you really want to get into the tokenomics, I recommend this video here.
Yeah, and this guy right here, Ruben, he explains it very well. Well put together video. The man goes in straight detail. I mean, it's a really good video.
YouTube, as he gets super detailed, and if you plan on investing, I think you should basically have that type of understanding. But now, with all that said, the investment thesis is pretty simple from the bull perspective, right? And this is how they'll frame it. 1, VV is a great NFT platform that will have huge demand in the coming years. 2, more NFTs bought on VV equals more OMI burn, which then equals more OMI buybacks. And 3, the value of remaining OMI coins goes up because these buybacks make it a deflationary asset.
And that's correct. The buybacks only work when you buy NFTs or make a sell in the secondary market, which would be 2.5%. So let's carry on.
Now, I am going to take a look at point number 1 to see what kind of traction, this platform might have going forward. But first, I want to talk about point number 2, which are the buybacks. You see, if you watch a bunch of videos here on YouTube or some of the articles that call for a much higher OMI price, they really make a big deal about these buybacks. But when you look at it a bit more closely, you start to realize there's something off with this theory. And to understand that, we have to look at how much OMI is actually burned. Okay, so there are 2 types of purchases that you can make on VV, and each has their own burn rate. So first, when you make that $100 purchase of Batman in the platform, $10 from that is that first set to be burned, but then it goes down to $7.
The $10 will be the 10%. And then you have a Apple fee of 30%, but we all know that that's going to change because they're going to the web app, and there won't be no more 30%. It'll be straight 10%. Let's keep listening.
$7 because Apple takes a 30% platform fee. In other words, only 7% of every direct transaction is burned.
Right.
The second type of purchase is when you buy something from the secondary market. Say you buy Batman from another collector for $100, and in this case, only 2.5% is burned.
Now, everything right here is 100% correct. Exactly. I'm loving this video. I really am. He's hit the nail on the head.
Now, these are pretty small percentages, so the question is whether or not enough OMI is going to be burned in the foreseeable future to have a big impact on the price of the currency. And for that, I built a back-of-the-envelope sales model based on where sales on the VV platform might go from here.
Now, he's about to go into the math. Now, I have been in the math, and the math don't work. But, I'm going on what the team has told me. And I've listened to every AMA. I've dissected everything. And their vision versus this math, which he is correct somewhat on the math, but we'll see. Let's just keep listening.
Now, the starting point is this year, where the team has said they've made $25 million from NFT sales in the first half of the year.
I think we're at 40 or 50 right now. I'm not 100% sure. So I just did the math on serial killers, and this is what they brought in for the serial killers. That's just one drop. It's $647,650 in one drop. So we're starting to bump it on up to 2 drops, and sooner or later it's going to be 3 drops, or a Tuesday drop and a Thursday drop, and maybe some night drops. I mean, it could be 2, 3, 4 drops a week. But yeah, so this is just the serial killers here. So I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and do all that math on all these NFTs. Ain't no way. I just did one. So there you go. You can go with that.
So I'm gonna give them a $50 million annual run rate. Now the next 2 years are estimates, and I'm gonna take a bullish position here to begin with, and I'm gonna let them double their revenue every year. So 100 million in year 2 and 200 million in year 3. Based on the burn percentage, this is how much would be burned and would need to be bought back. Okay, so that's the direct store purchases, but then you have secondary sales, which the team said would probably be double the primary sales. So let's just go with that amount for now. Based on the lower percentage here,
nobody can calculate the secondary market sales. Not right. Not this time. You can't. If somebody was to build, like if they go to the web version of VV, and somebody was to build some kind of back end, you know, I'm not no computer programmer. This would be somebody's way smarter than me in this stuff. But if they have to build something in the back end that could track every sell on VV, then you could get a better understanding of what the secondary buybacks are going to be.
This is what the buyback would look like. Remember, it's only 2.5% being burned on secondary sales. And so added together, what you see here is that about $6 million worth of buybacks would be made in the first year. And at the current price of $0.002, which again is just back of the envelope because I know the price fluctuates throughout the year, that comes out to 3 billion OMI coins being bought back, which sounds like a lot. However, this is only about 1% of the circulating supply for OMI. And for those more experienced OMI investors that may say that this supply number looks too high, that's because I'm adding the team's portion as they own 20% of all the supply. And of course, over time, they'll sell part of that share as well. So I'm counting it here.
And that's one way to do it. You know, he's actually adding in all the factors that need to be put in there for a business analysis.
Counting it here. Okay, so a 1% decrease in the supply in the first year is pretty small, and if we're honest, it probably won't have much of an impact on price at all. But then after that, things get even more interesting. And that's because if the idea is that OMI is supposed to get to the moon, then it's funny to see that in this burn and buyback system, there's something that basically acts as an anchor that will almost always keep OMI closer to the earth. And here's what I mean. If the price of OMI goes up, then that means you need to burn less OMI whenever an NFT is purchased. The simple example is that $100 today gets you about 50,000 OMI because of its price. But if that price 10x's from 0.002 to 0.02, then $100 only gets you 5,000 OMI. So the funny thing is that as price goes up, less OMI is burned, which...
Now, he's correct, but you also got to understand that how many more people's going to be on the app. I'm not saying he's wrong in that point, but when you got way more people coming to the app, like didn't we just have the Gavinci drop today, which sold out in not minutes but seconds? That was a nice penny right there. I didn't add it all up. I wasn't there for that drop. You know, I was working my butt off and I bought more OMI. When you add in that, and if you look at Gavinci's Twitter page, they have 1.9 million followers. All right. Don't you think we're going to pick up a lot more people there? Yeah. Yeah, we are. And you have Comic-Con coming up in July. And it's going to be a lot more people coming to the app. He's not taking in consideration of the Master Collector, which will have upgrades to your showroom. You'll be able to buy plants, furniture, all kinds of stuff. I believe they said something about a rug. I'm not sure. I had to go back and check. But you also got to look at upgrades coming up. Like you get your DeLorean, you get to change your paint job on the car, your rims. All this is going to cost OMI. So when you're only taking in two factors, which would be, you know, buybacks with the sales from the store and the 2.5% secondary buybacks, that's only two methods right there. And we know already that VV is going to be bringing it 100% with the VVverse, which is happening this year. So they are actually moving very fast, faster than any company I've seen that's trying to bring out this kind of massive app, NFT app. And they've talked about games also. You know, their first year was kind of so-so. They had a lot of problems with the app. The drops was shitty. Like it was really bad. Because I remember it's like you had to get on the app like an hour before the drop or hour and a half before the drop just to be able to purchase that NFT at the time. Now you can open the app 5 minutes before. I mean, so you got to look at the factors here with all the burning of OMI through upgrades, the buybacks, the 2.5 secondary market buybacks. Yeah, we're looking at in the next year, I'm thinking we're looking at a 24-hour consistent burn of OMI, and that's going to change everything. But let's just keep listening. So it's a lot of factors in it, and you know, I got to hand it to him. You know, he's put his financial experience into this project, and he's giving you his analysis. And you know, I like that. You know, at least he's not talking a lot of FUD like half the other people.
Which means the buybacks get smaller. And buybacks were one of the key reasons people were buying in the first place. So there's almost like a self-restraining feedback loop that will keep it from going up in price way above where the fundamentals are. As you can see again in the model, I've made a scenario where the price 10x's from year 1 to year 3. And so even though in year 3 I have VV making $600 million in a year, which you know would make it one of the biggest games, not just NFT games, but games in the world, they still end up burning less than 0.5% of the supply. This makes you wonder why something like this would even 10x in the first place. To me, this doesn't make OMI a bad investment per se, but it does basically rule out the possibility that this is a moonshot token. Because again, the higher the price goes up, the less value coin holders get from higher demand on VV. And if you disagree with this analysis, I'm actually throwing this little model in a Google Doc link here in the description below. So if you come up with a scenario that makes more sense to you, tweet it out and I'm happy to talk.
Yeah, y'all go check him out too. Here's his YouTube channel right here. I'm gonna drop a link down below in the comments, but go check him out because yeah, I'm following him. I want to see what else he's got to say down the road. I'd love to see a redo of this video a year down the road. I would love it.
Talk about it. Now I can predict that some bullish investors will respond by saying, okay, Giancarlo, I get it. First few years aren't going to bring a big payday, but you know what? I'm not in it for the quick cash grab. These businesses take time to build. And so give it 5 to 10 years. And you know, when the VV multiverse hits, they're going to be making billions of dollars. And so,
which is coming this year. They're starting the VV-verse this year. So yeah, they're moving pretty quick.
So first, I think the buyback problem doesn't just go away. Well, let's put that aside for now and let's talk about long-term demand for VV. I have 2 points about this, and the first is what I would call the Netflix dilemma. You see, when I was a stock analyst, I focused on digital media, and so I know the Netflix origin story pretty well. And there's a really interesting parallel to what might happen with OMI. And in fact, Ecomi even refers to Netflix a lot and sometimes even calls itself the Netflix of NFTs, so it's a perfectly fine comparison to make. So the story goes like this. Before Netflix, which you know sounds like a century ago, you know, and the land before Netflix, people laughed off the idea of streaming, you know, becoming a thing for TVs and movies. It was a product that no one really thought would grow beyond just a niche audience. And so Netflix went around to different studios and basically pitched them a deal to license a bunch of IP and brands that weren't getting, you know, much use anyways. They were basically catalog TV shows and movies. And so Netflix was able to negotiate crazy license deals at steep discounts because the executives at these studios were like, you know what, this is like free money for a product line that we don't really think much about anyways. But then streaming did take off, and 2 things happened. First, Netflix had more competition instead of being the only one in town, which is how they started off, and so they didn't have the same leverage as before to get those discounts. So Amazon and Google came in, and today you have HBO and others, right? And second, the studios took a step back and said, you know what, wait a minute. Why am I giving you all this power in this new vertical that now we realize is completely changing the game? Why don't I just launch my own app? And so today you see the result of that with the existence of 100 different video streaming apps. And for example, Disney has been able to grow so big that even they might knock Netflix off the top spot. Actually, the only way Netflix survived at all is because they had a world-class team that recognized what was happening and pivoted into original content as their main strategy, not licensing. It's gotten to the point where Netflix is now releasing a major original movie every single week. Okay, so why am I bringing this up? Because there's a scary analogy to the story of Ecomi and VV. You see, Ecomi basically also went around to studios about 2 years ago before anyone outside of a tiny crypto group knew what an NFT was and what the potential could be. I'm guessing they pitched it purely as digital collectibles, which to the studios just sounded like free money, right? And coming from something that probably would never be a huge market to them. Fast forward to today, and we live in a completely different world, right? NFTs have arrived, and there are people now at every studio and publisher thinking, whoa, this is actually a thing. You know, what are we gonna do here? And just like in the Netflix scenario, Ecomi is going to have way more competition over the next couple of years than they did in the prior 2. Best case scenario is they managed to renew their licenses, but at much higher cost than what they paid in the past. In the case of Netflix, stock analysts estimated that it went from $180 million to $1.98 billion in licensing costs in just 2 years. So that's best case scenario. And worst case scenario is they lose the licenses either to a competitor or because the studios just decided to launch their own NFT products direct to consumer. And then you have to bet that the guys behind Vivi are as world class in pivoting as the Netflix team, which is probably, in the top 0.001% of executive teams in the world. So in a way, Vivi could be a victim of its own success. And the further you stretch the timeline, the more risky their business model is. And as an investor, when you buy OMI, you're making a very centralized bet on the team and their ability to maintain and grow these licenses as the market changes and the studios realize how much money can be made with NFTs.
Okay, so we know Netflix did a great job, right? But Netflix isn't Vivi. Let's look at King of License, Mr. Alfred Kahn, okay? Making $25 billion in retail value. He's making $1 billion every year. This is Vivi's license getter, okay? We've been over this. So he's got licenses like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, how you pronounce that? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Cabbage Patch Kids, Polly Pocket, Nintendo, James Bond, World Wrestling Federation, Monster Jam, Xbox. I think he did the Garbage Pail Kids too. This is David Yu. Him and David Yu are really good friends. David Yu has been collecting for 20 years. You also have Dan, who has been collecting for 20 years also. This is the team. I call this the dream team, okay? So when you're sitting there explaining to these licensors that, Vivi is the best opportunity for your NFT, they're going in there and explaining crypto to these guys who think it's a scam coin. They are changing their mind to give them the license to make the NFTs. And do you really let's talk about quality, okay? Because see, I think this is what it is. Quality of the NFT is what's going to make Vivi #1 with the license. Why is Disney streaming doing so well? Because they have all the license, okay? They have what? Marvel. They have Star Wars. That's 2 major licenses right there. 2 major licenses. So you don't think these guys can't pick up those licenses with the quality NFTs that they put out right now? Okay, let's take a look at I'm not hating on Terraversal, but let's just take a look at their NFT real quick. Okay, so I'm loading up Godzilla from Terraversal. You see that? If I can zoom in. Now you see this, guys? How do I pause? So right here, this is Terraversal. Okay, look at the detail. Nah, they're not on the same level as Vivi. Not at all. So when somebody comes to licensor, say Vivi and Terraversal's trying to get the same license, which, Vivi's been doing it for 2 years, 3 years to be exact. Who do you think they're going to give that NFT to? Especially if they're making the same one, which I doubt they are. Or actually, Terraversal is. They're making the 3D images. But the other ones are making these cards and stuff like that. So let's take a look at some NFTs in Vivi. So I got Supergirl pulled up. This is straight quality. Did I not mention that Vivi also has Trevor from Riot Games? Yes. This is straight quality, guys. Let's look at another one. And I'm just pulling it up, I'm just pulling it up. And this is pictures. It's way better than the app. There's another one right there. Guys, nobody's competing with Vivi in quality. And that's why I say they will succeed and be way better than any other NFT project out there. 1, because they have Alfred Kahn getting the license. 2, because of the quality. 3, they have the Viviverse coming. Upgradable Batman, Superman capes, all this stuff. Change the color of your cars, your rims, all burning on me, right? So this is why I say that, you got David, you got Alfred Kahn, you have Dan, 20 plus years each. And then you have, and I'm going to debunk the Netflix right here. So my man Cavel's already on top of it, guys. Already on top of it. You see that? So I just verified the license ahead of Netflix. Hasn't had more than 6 years in license for the company she affiliated with. Can't compare to David Yu, and damn sure not Alfred Kahn. That's why it's a bad comparison. I really do think so, because VV has got the freaking dream team. But let's finish the video, guys.
Utility of the NFT from where it is today. Right now, the utility is pretty low, right? In most cases, you're just buying an image that you can look at. And, you know, I know they have the AR gimmick where you can take photos of your NFT in a room, and that's cool, but it's not enough to make this $1 billion business.
But it is, because he's not saying anything about the VVverse coming, the upgradable stuff, all the NFTs that's been released. It's for collectors. I mean, the low mint NFTs are like selling like hotcakes. I mean, you got ballers in there now buying up everything because they're collectors and they want to make a little money on the side. Who knows? But the NFT game is going to be very big, very big. And if they add a game to it, I mean, it's even going to be even bigger. But you're talking about $1 billion market right now, just with the collectors edition of these NFTs. And we also have sharing content to Snapchat, TikTok. All this is coming. So, yeah.
In my opinion, you need a game attached to this. You know, something like Pokemon Go to really make this a special product. And I think most OMI investors would probably agree with that.
And I will agree with that. You know, that will bring a lot more audience to the VV app. But they don't really need it, because collectors just want to collect and show off their NFTs, have a big collection. There's talk about an NFT coming out, maybe. It's a rumor. It's a rumor that VV could be possibly getting a comic book NFT that you could open up. So I'm going to talk more about that later. Yeah, let's finish up.
The issue is that making something like Pokemon Go is very hard, much harder than what Ecomi has built so far with the VV app. And if you remember Pokemon Go, even that game had a super rocky start and generally had a ton of glitches, even though Niantic, which was the team behind the app, were very experienced game developers who had already built a similar game at scale with Ingress. Yet even they struggled. On the other hand, if we look at
we're outsourcing the quality of the NFTs to some of the best companies out there, and you want to talk about marketing in the top 5 of the world. I mean, yeah, I think we're doing pretty good.
Ecomi, you know, these are media and business development guys. You know, yes, they have experience with licensing, and I don't doubt that they're good at getting those deals, but they're not experienced in building anything like a collectible game or a multiverse at scale. So while
but the VVverse is getting released this year, and there's already talk about being games in that, so you gotta take that with a grain of salt, I guess.
Theory, there's a lot of potential in what they could do with the app. You know, the ideas that we talk about are all good ones. The challenge is going to be in the execution. And with this team, I see it being a big risk factor. Now, with all that said, I actually plan to end on a positive note, because I do think there's potential here for people to make money in the next 12 to 24 months. But it's not with buying.
Did I mention that Reese had actually said something about, no, actually it was Dan. Dan actually said something about taking OMI and implementing it in the VV app to actually get a discount to buy a NFT. They put the NFT first. We all know that they're all for VV first, and that's great. They need to be. And the token's going to come second. They're just now working with the token. So they're going to use the token for all sorts of stuff in there. But, you know, it's my opinion versus your opinion, you know, take it as it is. But the OMI token is going to be implemented in this app, and they're going to make everything right. I'm telling you right now, because what they brought up in AMAs, if everything comes to full circle a year from now or the end of the year, I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see how quick they really move on this stuff. I believe they're going to make a big impact with the VV app.
OMI. It's with buying the actual NFTs in the VV app. Remember, in my sales model, I actually painted a picture where VV could become a huge app with a lot of demand. The issue was just that it didn't flow into the token in the way you would expect. It didn't result in a much higher price for OMI. But if VV does become that big, that means that there's going to be way more demand for these collectibles, especially the earlier ones. So you have a similar dynamic.
And he's right on that. Like, the NFTs that y'all are getting right now on the VV app are going to be worth so much money. And there's a big market in that also. You can make money with the OMI token. You can make money selling and flipping these NFTs at the same time. You can make money on both factors of VV.
That I pointed out in Blanco's Block Party, which is a new NFT game that is likely to blow up in the coming years. I have a video up here where a certain type of investor can make a good amount of money just holding and waiting for the platform to hit the mainstream, or by flipping and being, a more active sniper. This is a much better way to profit from VV blowing up compared to Omi, which just isn't designed to track the growth of the app in the way that some people think. The last
he's got a good point, but he's missing a lot of factors. What's going to come to VV? There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen with VV that he's not mentioned or he's not aware of. I'm not sure, but I admire his opinion on it. I really do.
Last thing I'd say on this point is to have some caution, because at this stage you aren't able to sell your NFTs outside the platform or cash out any of the profits in gems back into Omi. So they probably shouldn't even be defined as true NFTs yet. Now, I do believe they have confirmed that this feature is coming soon and that they're working on it, but in the meantime, this is just another risk that you have to keep in mind. So in conclusion, if you do believe that much in VV, then just buy the NFTs, not Omi. And if you're buying Omi because you believe in NFTs in general and you don't really care about actively buying and selling the NFTs themselves, then honestly my recommendation is to just buy Ethereum instead, because that's where 90% of NFT developers are going right now. And by buying Ethereum, you're not making a centralized bet on just one NFT platform. You're making a more diversified bet on the NFT space as a whole, which is probably a better idea. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope that was helpful, and I'll catch you again in the next video.
He's right about Ethereum. I'm almost to the point where I need to be with Omi, and my next investment, not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, is going to be Ethereum, because Ethereum is coming out with layer 2. And we all know Immutable X lays on top of layer 2. And I believe layer 2 is going to be huge, and it's going to boost the price of Ethereum big time. And that is my next investment, is Ethereum. I'm going to start throwing some money at it and see what happens with that. But that's going to be a long haul also. I like to buy and hold for at least a year. That's just how it is. So I can get away from short game taxes at least. But as far as Omi, he's got his own opinion. I have mine. Doesn't mean that either one of us are right. It really don't. I'm banking on the team to bring forth exactly what they're saying, which they brought forth a lot. So you got your futters out there, of course, be like, no, they haven't. I can already see the comments right now. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. Real business token, guys. Got to give it time. Got to give it time. As far as the NFT game, I believe VV is going to be #1. I wouldn't have bought so much if I didn't believe it. When everything comes full circle, we should have a more understanding on the OMI token. I bought the team. I didn't buy the token. I know what they're going to do. Like I said before, you have the VVverse, you have upgrades. They've said something about games later on, and they're starting to look at the token now. Once VV starts running at 100%, the token is going to be their next move. And that's when it's going to bring in a lot more people to OMI. But, that's my opinion. That's his opinion. But that is the best financial analysis I have seen from somebody who's not a hater. And I really like the video, and I appreciate the video, buddy. I hope he makes some more. But yeah, so that's my take on it, So I appreciate everybody watching. Give me that thumbs up, subscribe, like, and I'll see you on the next one, brother. Peace out.